Welcome into Wildcat Sports Talk. My name is Adam. That is Tim. We are in studio for another great edition as we've gotten past the July 4th weekend. And here we are on a Monday hanging out with you. Although
that's right.
It's not really Monday for us, but we're going to pretend it is, right?
Oh, yeah, we're good at pretending, Adam. But, man, we got a big show lined up. It should be a good one. I mean, should be pretty interesting, Adam. Can't wait to talk to these guys and see what they got to say, man.
Most of our listeners here, they know John. They know John Hammons. But who you may not know is his boss from fifth quarter. And so he's going to be calling into the show. So it should be a great show for you lined up tonight. So first of all, let's go ahead and bring in our first guest. So what we're going to do is we're going to have John on, and then his boss is going to call. They're going to both be on. So we're going to have them all in together. Should be a great thing. We're really excited about it. Tim, I tell you what, let's do something a little different because we've had John on several times. Tell me a fast fact about John that most people may not know.
Man, I don't know if I know anything that most people don't know because I learned a lot of stuff, through working with John. So I will say a fun fact about John is Big John Hammons has a beagle dog that stays in his house, and that dog's name is Briscoe after Briscoe that played for the.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring him in. John, you there, buddy?
What's up, Big John Hammons?
What the heck?
Man, you looking good, man. You got that Luke Combs beard going on, man.
Oh, yeah.
Boots colored red dirt, a don't mess with Texas t-shirt, and a Lone Star postcard postmarked missing you.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's happening, boy?
Hey, buddy. How you been, buddy?
Buddy, I'm hanging in there. How y'all doing?
Good, man. You growing out that beard, man. I keep telling you how good it looks.
Buddy, I appreciate it, man.
Man, you been singing a lot?
No, not lately. I haven't.
Oh, I heard you had a new hit out called "Houston, We Have a Problem."
That's one of my favorite songs. Luke Combs sings.
That is. I just heard a little bit of it, man. It does sound good.
I'm a Luke Combs fan. I'm a Morgan Wallen fan too. I like Morgan.
Oh yeah, I've heard a few of his things. But man, let's get right down to the business, though. You're right now you're busy with this FQ SEC, and you're working hard, man. And that seems like a good fit for you, don't it?
It is. Ever since I left Wildcat Sports Talk, I've had some tough times, just like everybody else. But I've settled into where I'm at, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Man, that sounds good. I know you got a lot of followers and stuff, and we're going to hear from your boss here in a minute. Tell us before he comes on. Tell us a little bit about him. Is he a good guy to work with?
He's a really good guy to work with. He played college football. He's a really nice guy. He's understandable. He's a guy that you can get along with, and a big diehard college football fan like myself, which. Everybody loves college football. And speaking of college football, I think everybody's on suicide watch right now with the way things are going. I feel like everybody's on the edge about wondering when there's going to be football, or if there's even going to be football. So it's just a lot of stuff that needs to be taken care of, especially with this virus going on.
What's your feeling on it, man? Do you think we're going to have football?
I think we will, but I think we'll be limited. Fans will be limited. I feel like I told a guy yesterday, I feel like, it's going to be more or less like a scrimmage type game, but I feel like you'll see it be more competitive, especially, guys going up against one another without the fans there. I think it'll be a little competitive too. But at the same time, the fans are what's important, especially the tradition, in certain games like home games, it makes a difference to have a huge crowd there.
Yeah, man, it'll be really, really different watching it on TV if there's no fans at all, won't it?
Yeah, it'd be a little odd. It'd be a little bit different now.
Now, when your boss calls in, he's got to stay on the line. I put him on, and then everybody does that. Every show in the world that Tim, help me understand this. Every show in the world, when they throw you on, nobody answers. It just gives you the feed to the show.
Yeah.
So why is it that when I do it, people hang up? They're like, "Oh, he's not talking to me," so I'm just gonna hang up. Like I don't get that.
It's just you, Adam. I don't know. I don't know, man.
It's a radio show, man. Hold on, I'm gonna try calling back here and see if I can't get him on. Well,
Hey, John, I apologize. Adam's wired up right now, man.
Adam's got a bunch of kids and a wife. I mean, he's got things that he needs to.
Hey,
Please record your voice.
oh my gosh,
He's not going to answer.
I fixed it. Go on. All right. I got so much stuff going on right now. It's not even crazy. And I'll tell you what. So your boss called. I'm pretty sure your boss called, and then didn't stay on the line. So you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to get him.
Well, you never know who called, man. You never know who called. Anybody.
It's an 850 number, so I'm positive it was your boss because that's Florida.
Oh.
I'm guessing they call him back, or you want me to try?
Is he a Florida Gator fan, John?
No, I'm not. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not real sure. Not into the whole details on that yet.
Oh, okay. But he tries to stay neutral.
I'm trying to stay neutral, especially on this SEC thing, because
I'm
not a big Gator fan or Tennessee Vol fan. You know, everybody says, hater, but you gotta be level a little bit with some fans because.
So your boss is from Florida, right?
I'm thinking yes, originally maybe.
Okay. All right.
Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really dug into his personal life. I just know him from being my boss, but he's really good.
That sounds good, man.
Hey, have we got you on now?
Yes, sir. I'm here to go.
I threw you on the feed there, and it I don't know. It should have worked, but anyway. Long story short, we're here now, and you're on right now. You got John, you got Tim, you got me. My name's Adam, and you're on with Wildcat Sports Talk. How you doing, buddy?
Great, and I'm glad to join you guys here on a recording for July 4th. What a great day to talk ball. This Independence Day, something we're good to go on.
All right, so here's let's get down to the brass tacks of everything right now. Most of our listeners and I'll tell you, most of the people that follow this page and follow our show are concerned that sports are even going to be a thing this year. So what do you expect, and how do you expect it to go down?
Well, guys, I'm a high school coach here in North Florida, and I coach the offensive line here at the local high school. And our first day of fall camp is going to be July 27th. If no drastic measures have taken place so far here at the high school level, I firmly believe college football will happen. Of course, you're going to see modifications with a limited number of fans, whatever percentage they want that to be. But, everybody's talking about, just the amount tested positive and stuff, but they got to look at the whole story as well. And I think we're going to have football in a very safe way this year for everybody, and everybody's going to get monitored. I think everybody should still be excited.
Well, I look at it, objectively, in that, here in at least in Kentucky, there are several schools that have kind of shut it down for another 2 weeks. I mean, you're in Florida, your beaches are getting shut down for the weekend. Doesn't that concern you just a little bit?
Well, I will say it's treated different in different areas, and I'm really kind of wondering about Kentucky because it's way more sparsely populated than Florida. In my local area, we only have about 65 COVID cases. Majority of them have recovered, and very few are hospitalized. I'm a half glass full guy. I really just think we'll get football in a safe manner. And, the only colleges that have canceled so far, guys, you've had a couple Division III schools in the northeastern part of the country. Some HBCUs like Morehouse in Atlanta's canceled, and 2 NAI HBCUs have canceled. But and they're doing what they think needs to be done safely. But if you follow your local ordinances, I think majority of the places in America is going to be good to go in a safe manner for college football.
Yeah. So we've got John on here. Tell us a little bit about his role from your perspective. He tells us about it, but I'd like to hear you talk about it.
Man, John Hammons is an absolute legend. He does a great job. He runs our SEC social media, and that's an absolute big deal because, as we all know, SEC fans are the most passionate in sports. John does a great job of bringing all 14 schools' fans together and having some healthy topics and maybe even some trash talk there. But he also does a great job with creating content not only on the social side, but he writes for us as well. And, John, I know you're listening over there, and I really appreciate you being on the ride with us, but he is our Kentucky expert. He is our SEC expert.
Yeah, that's awesome. John, say hi to him. He can hear you.
What's up, John?
Good to see you, man. Good to hear from you, man. Hope everything's well.
Appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, so
Yes.
listen, I noticed you guys had been doing a few podcast things together. Tell us a little bit about that. I know I caught a couple of the episodes there on Spotify. So I wanted to just kind of hear you talk about that a little bit.
Well, me and John Hammons, we're part of a network called Fifth Quarter. And what I'm proud about Fifth Quarter here is, you can't go on Twitter without running into one of our accounts. I feel like we have that presence now that you'll run into one of our accounts. We do a great job of, accumulating different podcasts of different shows. Our Florida State one's the biggest. Personally, I'm only, on one of them, and that's our NAI football podcast. We do a great job with niche topics, and NAI football is absolutely huge in Kentucky over there. Columbia, Kentucky has Lindsey Wilson College, who made the NAI semifinals, and we're good friends with Coach Oliver over there. And NAI is Kentucky is the best state for NAI. And I know Big John Hammons over there. He lives near Union College in Farmersville, Kentucky. We're just excited to what we have going on, and we love just our big thing at Fifth Quarter is just creating communities, whether it's in our Discord, message board, Facebook groups, and we want everybody involved and to give a platform for voices to be heard.
Yeah. So, in all of that, and kind of going back to this virus stuff, for a minute. What is the general consensus around the country in terms of your other Fifth Quarter affiliates and what they're saying? I mean, I'm hearing everything. I'm hearing that there's no chance there'll be football all the way up to we're good, we're going to play. So, what's the general consensus out there?
I firmly believe that the general consensus is that football is happening. It's going to be in the safest manner possible. You're not going to see just sold out stadiums this year. The social distancing is going to be in effect. The big thing that I'm hearing is that you're going to have touchless temperature checks. You're going to get a series of questions asked if you had a fever or cough, if you've been in contact with anybody with COVID-19. And, of course, if you say, and this is going to be, part of, just the public trust, if you say yes to any of those, they're probably just going to send you home. And it's going to be big on the public trust for people to be honest, but they're going to have that just for documentation, I believe. I don't know how far the documentation is going to go, but there are going to be screening with temperatures and question checks. So it's going to be a pain getting into the stadium this year. That's just what I'm hearing.
Well, one more thing, and I'm going to turn it over to Tim. We had talked with John a little bit, and he had told us about a couple of articles and people that have talked about, and I don't even know how you do it, but staying 6 feet apart on the field. I mean, how ridiculous would that be?
Absolutely ridiculous. Football is a physical sport, and the great thing about the NFL is going to have no problem if everybody buys in, because they're easily going to be able to monitor their players and keep them in bubbles and daily tests. The major colleges won't have problems because they'll have the resources for it. It's going to struggle for the lower colleges that don't have the money to keep the resources together to test their kids off and whatnot. But it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. I would say even at the high school level, we're having to, offensive line, we're having to have 6 foot split, so we're socially distanced and going over plays. So, as crazy as it is, we just gotta, just listen to the man above us and keep everybody safe, I guess.
There you go. There you go. Tim, I'll let you ask a question or two. And John, think of something, man. You're going to ask your boss a question. All right.
All right.
Hey, John, this is Tim. Like Adam said, we appreciate you coming on the show and chatting with us a little bit. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Big John Hammons. He's actually a buddy of mine. We go back. We've known each other for a while. We've worked together, and I know, man, Big John is a very, very passionate guy. He's very passionate about the SEC and about Kentucky football and basketball. And my question for you is, when John he brings a lot of passion, he don't really pull any punches. Sometimes he can get a little controversial, and sometimes he can stir up some people and get them going. Man, is that something that you kind of embrace with John, or are you kind of got to keep an eye on him?
Well, what's funny about Big John is you're absolutely right. What makes him so good is that he is opinionated, and he cares so much about stuff. So our process and protocol at fifth quarter is, whatever you put on your personal account on Facebook and on your personal Twitter is great. We just try to stick to the facts on the actual fifth quarter accounts, but Big John does a great job of utilizing his personal go hand in hand with his Twitter account, and he does a great job of knowing when to put the professional hat on and then when to put the passionate, get the discussion hat going, and he just does a good job at it.
Yeah, that's one thing that sticks out to me is how passionate, John is. So I figured that was something you liked about him, because when it comes to sports, especially SEC, it don't get much more passionate than John.
That's right. That's why we have him there. That's why he's getting paid the big bucks.
There you go. There you go. Hey, John. John, here's your chance, man. Ask him. I know a lot of times when you guys are doing shows or talking back and forth, you're kind of doing it for a collective show. But now here's a chance to ask him a question. Ask him something that you might not ask him on a normal show.
Well, there was one question I was going to ask. We had talked about it before, earlier. Who did you grow up watching on TV, like college football? Who was your favorite team growing up?
Well, Big John, I'm just south of Tallahassee, Florida here, and my dad always took me to the Florida State games, and that's one thing me and you got in big common is, you love going to the games with your dad. I love going to the games with my dad. My favorite, childhood player is, Peter Ward, and he was like a magician on the field. The biggest game from my childhood was 1998, Florida State, Florida. And, future Heisman Trophy winner Chris Winkie broke his neck a couple weeks before against Virginia. And, the preseason third-string quarterback started the rest of the year. And Steve Spurrier, never won in Tallahassee. And that was his chance to win it. And in the first half, it looked like, that they were going to take the distance and run off on us. And, they were 12-3 at halftime. And, Peter Ward took over and won the game. And, they lost to Tennessee in the national championship, but that game will always be in my childhood memory.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on. You're welcome on anytime. You got something to talk about? We've got an audience here that will be glad to hear it. So we want to thank you again.
Yes, sir. Hey, I appreciate you guys, and y'all keep Big John straight over there for 4th of July, and can't wait to watch some Wildcat football, some SEC football, and those local NAIA communities around the state of Kentucky. And y'all guys have a great day.
All right,
too,
go
man.
Big Blue and go SEC.
That's right. Appreciate it, John. Go Big Blue.
Hey, John, we'll get
Y'all take care, folks.
John Hammons. We'll be back with you here. We're going to take some calls from your people, so sit tight. All right.
Think about this. Less than 4 in 10 Americans can name any of the 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment. Yet, 41% of Americans under 35 think the First Amendment goes too far. Do you know your 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, freedom to petition the government. Think First. Go to thinkfirstamendment.org to learn more.
Aired by the Kentucky Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Kentucky Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles. The coronavirus outbreak is unlike anything that we have seen or experienced in our lifetime. That's why this station and Feeding Kentucky are uniting against hunger. You can help your local food bank by donating today at feedingky.org. Your generous gift will ensure that families across the Commonwealth have enough food to eat during this crisis. Together, we can make a difference. Consider donating at feedingky.org.
Kentucky's new 5-star school rating system provides parents with an easy way to find out how their children's schools are performing. Star ratings are based on test scores for reading, math, social studies, science, and writing. They are also based on students' academic growth over 1 year. For high schools, ratings are also based on how well students are prepared for college and careers after graduation and the number of students who graduate on time. Visit kyschoolreportcard.com for the latest information on schools in your community.
Wash your hands, stay home, cover your cough. It's our new reality with COVID-19. Physicians and public health professionals are trying to protect us because our healthcare system would be overwhelmed if too many people get seriously ill. We have to take their advice seriously. So, prepare, focus on the essentials. Protect, keep some space from people outside your home. And disinfect a lot. Get the facts at kycovid19.ky.gov. Prepare, protect, disinfect.
Looking for the perfect food truck for any occasion, whether it be a birthday party, weddings, fundraisers. Listen, they do all kinds of events, and they're called M&S Minis. That's right. They've got 10-plus flavors of cotton candy, caramel popcorn, and food cart catering needs. Just contact Mel today. 606-304-8379. That's M&S Minis /Bam Good Eats. They've got it all. Call them today, 606-304-8379. Hey, Tim, have you ever heard about Cannabis Frog? I mean, I'm sure you have. You've been on this show. You know all about it, right? Oh, well, good. We don't have Tim because he his mic is muted and he doesn't know how to unmute himself. So that's good. So anyway,
No,
what I
for
wanted
sure,
to tell you
man.
about Cannabis Frog was that
Hey, I said for sure I'm a customer.
That's right. They are the best locally produced CBD around, period. There's no better. And if you want to check them out, go online, cannabisfrog.com, spelled PHROG.com. Use promo code CATS for 15% off and a free gift. That's cannabisfrog.com. Welcome back into Wildcat Sports Talk. You know, it's funny. I do these commercials live a lot of times.
And I don't even know
what'll
that.
happen
I'm not even
is,
prepared.
is, per usual, Tim will forget to click a button.
I don't even know.
See,
You don't even say,
I've-
hey, we're going to do this commercial. You're just like, do it.
Yeah, I know. I feel like if I can do it on the fly, Tim should be able to do it on the fly too, John. So, you know, maybe next time I'm going to ask you, because I mean, we got to work on this. Because see, Tim, as usual, since the day one, has always had the technical difficulties. Like yesterday, we did this whole chat, and it was a disaster because Tim refused to get on his phone and do it like normal. So, anyway.
Hey, let's try it. Let's try it.
I can't hear you, Tim. Oh, man. So, anyway, so here in about 5 minutes, we're going to start getting some phone calls in, John. Man, let's talk about this. I got to see your face and your reaction when we're talking about this, because we've already talked about this once. But are you serious when you say that you've heard from a couple of different people that there could be the chance that you got to be 6 feet apart on the football field?
I've talked to numerous people. You know, some of them was got out. They was guidelines first come out, but
right.
A lot of it, a little bit since they're phases. But at the same time, you know, I think it's not only going to be the 6 feet apart, but there's going to be a lot more issues, like John said earlier. Taking temperature checks, making sure everybody's being honest with themselves. Player in and say, you ask a player a question, you'd be like, did you seen or been around anybody that's had COVID? And all they could say is no. And basically they could just go through and play football without being honest about it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different variables that are going to play into this.
So how do you even coach somebody and say, look, you got to be 6 feet apart on this field?
Well, it's not just that, Adam. It's not like saying you got to be 6 feet apart. You were talking about tackling 6 feet apart. You got to turn into Superman or something?
Yeah, that's impossible in football because there's so many variables, especially in football, where you got to beat up the opponent to make a tackle. And 6 feet apart is like telling a guy, you got to make a run and go and tackle somebody, and that's not football. That
sounds like laser tag.
Does, or maybe football. I mean, it's especially with how society's changed in the last 2 or 3 months, just everything just changed drastically, and just hopefully we can get back to some normalcy, because at the end of the day, that's all we want as a country and as a nation.
Well, I know that you have said that you are the self-proclaimed Joe Montana of flag football.
I mean, I have. I mean, I played football. I was kidding around a few other guys, but I played a little football, but I wouldn't, I was just trying to be modest about it. I'm not no Joe Montana or Joe Burrow. I'm just John. We used to play when I was a kid. We used to play flag football, and it wasn't regular flag football either. It was, we tackled you like real football was, and kids don't do things that they used to do like we used to do when we was young. And,
So if you had flag football, John, and you tackled, what was the premise behind that? I mean, did you still have to get the flags once you tackled them down, or how did that work?
You had to tackle them down pretty much, and you had to rip the flag from them. It was pretty much,
So what you're saying is you had to get the flag, but you were allowed to tackle if you had to get it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
Okay.
the rules were the same as football, except we did not use flags. We used flags to rip it from them whenever we brought them to the ground.
Hey, man, that could get interesting. What if somebody tackled you, but they didn't get your flag? Could you get up and keep running?
Yeah.
Oh
man,
that is
fun.
crazy. That sounds like rugby or something.
My backyard growing up.
Yeah, there you go.
No wonder you're so tough now, John. Did you take some hard hits?
I took one to the groin. Had to go to the hospital. It was 1 week. I believe it was 4th of July week back when I was in high school.
Wow.
Helmets and everything. And he hit me with his helmet. He tried to spear me coming out on the side, and when he did, he hit my groin, and it bruised it so bad that I couldn't even walk. I had to be putting
So we're on the anniversary of John's getting hit in the groin.
13 years ago, maybe.
Wow.
Take a hit now. If I took a hit, I'd probably fall over. So
There you go. Well, that's some good long dead air there, Tim. That was great. I was going to hand it over to you to let you talk, but then you just sat there. So,
Well, I don't know. I was waiting on you to say something. Okay, here, let's go. Let's see here, John. I got a question for you, Big John. Now we've switched gears a lot here because we concentrate on football, but that's kind of part of this show. We kind of jump from football to basketball, and we're just kind of all over the place. You know, if it's anything UK related, we'll just talk about it. So, someone wanted me to ask you the question if you knew what was going on with Reed Travis now. If you had an update from him, and I think he's playing in Japan, how he's doing.
I haven't really heard anything on Reed Travis. I haven't really, especially since basketball season, not up much with basketball. I mean, I've kept up with some of the, signings, people committing, but I haven't really kept up with the former players. I talked to a few here and there in football, but as far as the FQ, how it's ran, it's more based on the football aspect of it.
Yeah.
I'm not into the basketball right now, which maybe possibly we could get into basketball, but I'm not at the point to where we're covering college basketball as a whole right now.
Well, let me ask you this: as not FQ SEC, just as I know you keep up with UK, especially. Did you see where UK offered the Sky? I can't remember his last name. What's his name? Sky.
Sky Clark.
Yeah, Sky Clark, where he got an offer from UK and 2022 class kid. I think he's top 17 in the country. What do you think about him?
I think he's a really good player. He's dynamic. He can do a lot of things with the basketball in his hands. He's another one of them that he's like another Calipari type player. I'd like to have him, I know, but at the same time, there's always going to be them teams come in, Duke, Kansas, North Carolina. But at the end of the day, if you want to go be great, I feel like you need to go under Calipari because, how many people has he put in the NBA? I mean, there's so many people in the NBA right now because of Calipari. Guys that you wouldn't think have been in the NBA got there because of Calipari. He can develop guys, and that's one thing I love about John Calipari.
Let me ask you this, man. John Calipari came out just the other day with a message to the Big Blue Nation about wearing a mask. Did you see that?
I've seen it.
What was your thoughts on that? Just keeping it real.
He's just doing what he's supposed to. I mean, he's trying to keep his boys healthy and talk about it and around the country and how we're supposed to have safety precautions, and I get it, but at the same time, you got a lot of people that don't care about all this stuff, and
but John, I feel like you're kind of riding the fence there a little bit. What do you think about it? Like, do you agree with him?
I mean, I do. I mean, I'm one of them people that I'm not big on masks because I mean, I choke out, but at the same time, I mean, if you're sick and you got issues, I feel like you should wear one. But I feel like if you're healthy, you shouldn't wear one. But that's my.
Well, I was going to say, so you don't really agree with him then, really? I mean,
but at the same time, I feel like he's doing what's best for him, and I appreciate that. That's one thing I appreciate. People looking out for the safety of others.
Yeah, Calipari is the man. Whenever he speaks, Big Blue Nation listens.
They do. That's for sure.
Hey, so let me ask you this.
What do you think,
John?
Adam?
Huh? What'd you say, Tim? I can't hear anything.
I didn't say anything. Oh,
okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So, John, I want to ask you this real quick. If there were something that came out today that said maybe we're going to start in the spring, what would be your thoughts on that?
I think it would be impossible because you got the NFL draft coming up, and then you got players going and coming from school, and it would make a mess because, if you're a top player, like let's give it an instance like Trevor Lawrence from Clemson, and you're wanting to move to spring. Well, if he's wanting to go pro, they're going to sit out to go to the NFL. a lot of the top guys would sit out knowing that, my time in college is done. Why would I go back in spring when I can go right to the NFL draft and start playing for the NFL? And, there's a lot of different variables with that spring thing. The other day, SEC came out and Big Ten said they cannot do it. So basically, you're either going to have a fall season or you're not going to have a season at all in some college, in some conferences. And there's going to be some states where might not even play. I mean, you look at California where the cases are rising, and the governor's already put a mandate on masks. In some towns in California, and you're just going to have a big old mess. Is what you're going to have, especially in fall if there's football.
Hey, John, I got one, Adam, real quick, while it's on my mind, if you don't mind. John, man, we don't, like we've said this a million times, we don't get political on this show, and we're not going to. So I want to say that if there's anything that somebody might spin as political, because we don't do that. But I've got a question for you, just as a sports fan, man. This virus, this coronavirus, man, has really messed up our sports, and it's been devastating. It's took a lot of lives, and it's just been a crazy thing, man. But here's my question to you, Big John, is, man, do you think, when we talk about being a Kentucky fan, we're a fan of the state of Kentucky. You know what I mean? Everything that represents Kentucky, that represents us. So we're a fan of it. We're proud of it. Like when they do these blood drives, we want Kentucky to beat Tennessee doing the blood drive. I mean, it's all about pride of your state. As a sports fan, when it comes to just sports related, not political, just sports related, Kentucky's had some of the best numbers about keeping the COVID contained. Do you think Kentucky as a whole that we've done a good job with the coronavirus, or is there things that you would change?
I feel like we've done pretty good with it. I mean, we've kept the hospitalizations down, we've kept the numbers down, and we've had plenty of testing, especially around the Commonwealth. And Kentucky's a little bit different than, say, you would get Florida and Georgia and some of these bigger states, because Kentucky ain't as popularized as some of these other states because it's low in numbers. But I feel like Andy Bashir, I mean, I'm not going to say if I'm political to say I voted for him, but at the same time, I feel like he's answered the message and he's gave us a clear path of what he's wanting to do. And I feel like he's done a great job on helping and protecting Kentucky. Now, like you said, I'm not going to be political or anything, so I'm just going to leave my comments at that. But I feel like, yes, he's done a good job at protecting us and making sure that we're fine and that we take care of our own and, protect our grandparents, especially because a lot of them are, like they're battling underlying conditions and things that can affect them when they go out in public.
So you're like me, you're pretty proud of where Kentucky's at during this whole fight.
I ain't got no beef on that. I feel like Andy has done a really good job.
Yeah. Well, man, I just wanted to get your take on that because, like I said, we're real competitive, even if it ain't sports. It's just Kentucky competing with other states. And it's not a competition because we all want to be safe. You know what I mean? We all want to save lives. But I'm just proud of the way – and I'm not even talking about one certain person or politician, but just the way Kentucky has kind of – we've not all really done our part. It's not been perfect, but – Kentucky really stacks up with a lot of the other states. So I just wanted to say I'm proud of that, and I'm sure you are too. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I was going to say this too. What about who? And the player keeps leaving me, Tim. But the story that we talked about yesterday, with the player that came out for Kentucky and said, "If you want us to play, pay us."
Oh, yeah, McCall. Yeah, McCall.
Marquand McCall.
Marquand McCall, yeah.
Yeah,
what do you think about that, John?
That I don't know. I mean, basically, I feel like they should be paid in a way. But at the same time, I feel like, you're going to school on a scholarship too. So that's a topic that can get a little political. So I'm not going to say much on that, but I feel the players' anguish. I feel what they're saying. But at the same time, you got to stay away from certain topics because it can get a little bit political and things like that.
Well, John, one way I look at it, man, is, I mean, these players, they're making the schools a lot of money. You know what I mean? They're making the schools a lot of money, and we're heading towards they're going to get paid. They're going to end up getting paid one way or the other. And but I don't think these players like McCall is asking for a lot of money. They just won't getting around money. Just eating money, just money that they don't have to struggle.
I feel like they're basing like sign our dress.
Hey, John, we're going to have one more segment when we return. Just sit tight for us real quick, okay?
Think about this. Less than 4 in 10 Americans can name any of the 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment. Yet, 41% of Americans under 35 think the First Amendment goes too far. Do you know your 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, freedom to petition the government. Think first. Go to thinkfirstamendment.org to learn more.
Aired by the Kentucky Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Kentucky Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles. The coronavirus outbreak is unlike anything that we have seen or experienced in our lifetime. That's why this station and Feeding Kentucky are uniting against hunger. You can help your local food bank by donating today at feedingky.org. Your generous gift will ensure that families across the Commonwealth have enough food to eat during this crisis. Together, we can make a difference. Consider donating at feedingky.org.
Kentucky's new 5-star school rating system provides parents with an easy way to find out how their children's schools are performing. Star ratings are based on test scores for reading, math, social studies, science, and writing. They are also based on students' academic growth over 1 year. For high schools, ratings are also based on how well students are prepared for college and careers after graduation and the number of students who graduate on time. Visit kyschoolreportcard.com for the latest information on schools in your community.
Wash your hands, stay home, cover your cough. It's our new reality with COVID-19. Physicians and public health professionals are trying to protect us because our healthcare system would be overwhelmed if too many people get seriously ill. We have to take their advice seriously. So, prepare, focus on the essentials. Protect, keep some space from people outside your home. And disinfect, a lot. Get the facts at kycovid19.ky.gov. Prepare, protect, disinfect.
Looking for the perfect food truck for any occasion, whether it be a birthday party, weddings, fundraisers. Listen, they do all kinds of events, and they're called M&S Minis. That's right. They've got 10-plus flavors of cotton candy, caramel popcorn, and food cart catering needs. Just contact Mel today. 606-304-8379. That's M&S Minis /BAM Good Eats. They've got it all. Call them today, 606-304-8379. Hey, John, have you ever tried CBD oil?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Well, I'm glad you answered. See, I got you to answer. Tim just kept his mic muted. But either way, Cannabis Frog is the place to go if you're looking for the best CBD oil in the great state of Kentucky. And I'm going to tell you what, if you go over to their website right now, cannabisfrog.com, spelled PHROG.com, they're going to give you 15% off and a free gift. I mean, you can't beat it. And folks, CBD oil works. And theirs works because they use the right amount of CBD. It's fresh. It's made fresh, grown right here in the great state of Kentucky. Check it out. CannabisFrog.com, spelled PHROG. That's CannabisFrog.com. Welcome back into Wildcat Sports Talk. I just moved everybody around. It's all about the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, what's up, Big John? How's it feel to be up there now?
So John, this is it. All right, we're in the last segment here. We've got about 12 minutes left.
You got to bring it now, John. You got to bring it.
So John, this is it. All right, this is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your thoughts on closing thoughts on everything right now, the state of the union. And as a matter of fact, I want to, and if this works, we're going to do a segment called State of the Union with John Hammons. All right. I want you to tell us right now.
Don't leave anything out, John.
How the things are, how the affairs are, what we need to do collectively as a nation to move forward. And John, we don't get political on this show, so just be mindful of that. But the only thing I would say to that is, though, say what's on your mind anyway, because here's the thing. It's you. Me and Tim, we don't get political, but you're John. You're John Hammons. So we open the door for you, buddy. So whatever you want to say right here, this is it. This is your chance. What is the state of the union right now in the United States of America when it comes to football, basketball, and everything in general? What do we got to do to move forward?
Work together.
Speak to your fans.
You got to work together. You got to talk things out instead of, crying about it and, making excuses on why this is that. And I feel like, the whole anthem deal that they're talking about in the pros, I feel like, that's more or less trying to divide the country. And instead of dividing the country, we should be more about talking things out, working with each other, putting ourselves in a position to, sit down and just discuss things. Because at the end of the day, we're human beings, and we should be able to sit down and discuss things with each other and have civilized conversations with one another, because at the end of the day, there's only one human race, and it's not black or white. It's being just together, unity, and we've lost that somewhere along the way. And I feel like as a country, we need to get back to that. We need to get back to normalcy. We want college football back, but at the same time, we got to work together to make sure that we do the proper things, and we work together to make sure there's safety and protocol. And like I told you all, I'm not a big political guy. I mean, I can be, but at the same time, I want us to work things out by talking things out instead of crying about things and trying to put things out of perspective when we need to put them in perspective. And that's just my thoughts on it right now.
Well, John, that's well said. So, in that note, let's go over to the football and basketball side. I mean, what do we got to do collectively to make sure we have a season this year?
Well, according to the South Carolina guy, the mayor, I should say, he said that he would cancel football if they did not start wearing masks and if the cases got any higher. So if we're going to have football and if we're going to do things the way we want them to be done, wear a mask. Put a mask on, make sure you're, being precautious about certain things and making sure that your safety comes first, because you don't want to get out here, and get sick and then come home to grandma and grandpa and something happened to them, because then you would feel really bad about it. And so at the end of the day, it's all about safety. It's all about making sure that others are taken care of.
All right. But to play the devil's advocate, John, I mean, you yourself have said, we've got to open things back up. We can't stay closed forever. I mean, honestly, man, that's the John I want to hear from right now. So help me out and help me understand, where that comes from on the one hand, and then now you're saying this. I want to hear both.
I'm on both sides of the fence because I understand where people are coming from. I do. I mean, there's safety things that need to be done, but at the same time, we need to open too, because you can't shut down life forever and close up shop like we did. Because if you do, then the economy will go down and things will rocket out of control. And if we're going to do things, like we want to do them again, we have to be, we're curious and make sure that everything is taken in consideration before we do open up, because a lot of people depend on jobs. They got families to feed. I mean, you look at some of these pro athletes, a lot of them have jobs that depend on their family. And if they don't have that job, then they don't have no money, and we gotta be opening back up. But at the same time, we have to open back up too. I understand. I'm on both sides of the fence on that deal. I'm not no hater or anything like that. I just want to make sure everybody's healthy and safe.
Well, so on that note, I do, like I said, I want to make sure our listeners understand we are all about Wildcat sports. We get that. There's just not a whole lot of that going on right now. So the only thing that's on the forefront of anybody's mind is this virus. And I feel like we've ran it into the ground, but literally, John, that's all that's being talked about. Everybody's scared to death that there's not going to be a season, and it's looking more and more as news comes out. These cases are going out. Major League Baseball had guys test positive. Now, I get it. There's a bunch of those guys. But still, every time there's a positive case, it's less and less likely that we're going to have a season, because I'm going to tell you, I was there the night they shut everything down. I watched as the NBA, I watched on my TV as the NBA basically canceled a game right before our eyes because of one positive case.
Yeah, but, there was an instance yesterday where the MLB, they had, 18,000 maybe players. No, it was 1,800, I believe. They tested positive. 31 of them tested positive. So that's 1%. That's not a lot. I mean, if you break it down into numbers, that's not a lot of players. But at the same time, a lot of them players are going to be asymptomatic, and a lot of them's going to be over it in a couple of days. But at the same time, do you take that chance going forward, in the next week when they're going to be – because in the MLB, they're going to be testing every day, and I'm guessing that's what they'll do in the NBA, NFL, and so forth. But, 1% ain't bad. You can keep that case down and keep it from going up. I think we're in good shape to play sports, but it's got to stay positive and it's got to stay consistent.
Since you're fifth quarter SEC and you cover the entire SEC, I'll ask you one more question, then we'll let
It sounds like the question I was going to ask him.
Since you cover the entire SEC, can you give us your top 5 non-UK players of all time in the SEC? Go.
Danny Werfel, Peerless Price, Herschel Walker, Carlos Dansby, and trying to think who else. I'm gonna go with one that I know personally, Terrence Edwards from Georgia.
No Peyton Manning?
No Peyton Manning? I was just getting ready to say that. I'm like, what?
I'm a big fan of Danny Werfel. He was a lot of people didn't give him the credit he deserved, and I'm a Peyton Manning fan. Peyton Manning's in my top 10.
Okay, I got one more question before we wrap it up here in a minute, but I've got to know, since you're, like he said, FQ SEC, you cover the whole SEC. Real quick, John, without even thinking about it, where does Kentucky rank in football in the SEC to start this season, and how mad will you be if they don't get to play this season with the team they've got?
I'll be devastated because I feel like this Kentucky team's probably the best team they've had probably ever.
So where do they rank? Where do they rank right now?
They get
Quickly, John.
in my book, I feel like they're ranked third.
Behind who?
I feel like Florida's first, Georgia. I feel like Florida will be first, second, Kentucky third, Tennessee fourth.
Okay, I'll take that.
And that's in the East, though. That to be clear, that's.
I'll probably get a lot of hate mail over that because
third in the East. Third in the East, but overall, John, overall in the SEC, where we rank?
About 6.
Okay, all right.
We're up there. I feel like this is probably the team that Stoops has had since 2018, especially defensive side of the ball. But like you said, it's all about playing. And if they play, this Kentucky team could go very far this year. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they could end up in the SEC championship.
Wow, okay.
All right, well, John, we got to let you go, buddy. We got to wrap up the show here really quick, and thanks for joining us. You've been on the whole hour. Go check him out at FQSEC on Twitter, and John, we look forward to hear.
Make that fifth quarter SEC at fifth quarter SEC.
Okay, at fifth quarter SEC.
SEC is the Facebook page.
I got you. All right, go check them out right now. Do it. Go like it. And we'll see you again next week, John.
You take care of yourself, boys.
Thanks, buddy. See you, Big John.
All right, so Tim, couple things, folks. Thank you for bearing with us through this holiday week. It's been hard nailing down people. Why does everybody want to see me? It's been hard nailing down guests. It just has. That's just the reality of it. We are going to get back to that starting this week. I think we've got a couple of people lined up for you. It's going to be great. Tonight, as you're watching this, you'll be able to head on over at 7 o'clock, check out the Harris Way. That's coming up here in just a few minutes. He's got all kinds of stuff to talk about. He's actually practicing down in Florida right now. So there is that. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. We want to thank you guys for bearing with us through the holiday weekend. People are busy, so we've kind of backed off some of the guests, and that's why you've seen a lot of John, and we're happy to have him, and we look forward to having him again real soon.
That's right, man. We hope you guys had a really fun, great, safe holiday weekend, and we appreciate you guys staying tuned and watching us. And we got big things coming up, and we love you guys. We love the support, and like I always say, go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue. Peace out. You've been listening to Wildcat Sports Talk.